I've made the terrible mistake of actually riding my Sherco, so now I must do maintenance. One thing about this bike that's a bit concerning is the maintenance schedule. It's incredibly intense. The oil changes alone are every 300 miles, according to the manual. First thing I need to do is warm this thing up. The French bike's a little cold nature, no? Got no cops turning around? Not only does it need an oil change every 300 miles, it's got not one or two, it has 3 drain plugs. It even has this oil filter up here that I had to remove the case saver and guard off to get to. It's a pretty long filter. You know, you would think greens, magnet plug, filter that long, I think the oil would last a little longer. It's like we're filtering it more. My 300L with its simple 1 drain bolt, 1 oil filter that was about half this size had 26 times longer maintenance intervals than this Sherco has. That's kind of crazy. Of course, we would say these aren't really comparable engines, right? I mean, we're talking about a streetable dual sport motor versus a race motor, right? You ever thought to yourself, like, why is that though? And of course this thing calls for Motul, just the most expensive stuff out there. Why not? What is this? This is 10W60. Look how thick this stuff is. It gets even funnier. This thing, according to the manual, takes 1.1 liters. So I had to buy 2 of these bottles so I could use a 1/10 out of the other one. The window's all the way full. It is so close to being full, but nope, wasn't kidding when it said 1.1. It's the blood of unicorns, that's why it's red. They've also placed the window, as you've seen, in a real convenient place to see, just right there under the brake. Is it French back? This is the appropriate place, of course. Every 300 miles, you'll have to do that. Does that seem worth it to you? Well, hang on, there's more. We also need to adjust the steering head bearings, check the brake pads. You need to measure the thickness of the discs, check general bearing clearance, swing arm and linkage, clean air filter. Every 1,500 kilometers and was it 900 miles or something, I'm supposed to do a valve clearance. At 2,500 kilometers, you basically have to rebuild the engine. It literally has in here replace valve springs, washers, connecting rod, check, replace gearbox, replace the oil pump, timing chain, replace the piston. What is that in miles? Oh, 1,500 miles. So the 300L has 26 times longer service intervals than this bike. I mean, do they actually expect me to rebuild the whole engine every 1,500 miles? This isn't gonna go well if that's the case. And you may be thinking, wow, that Sherco is definitely a mistake, but let me tell you some other bikes. The KTM 500 EXC, 450 miles to do an oil change. But if you dig into the maintenance schedule beyond that, it's really similar. Like, there's a bunch of replaced piston cylinder with similar miles to the Sherco. The CRF 450 RO has 600-mile oil change services, so double that of the Sherco. I mean, that's kind of cool. Still pretty ridiculous, and when you dig into it, it's a lot of similar stuff too. Maybe not quite as intense as the KTM and the Sherco. And I even found one that was even worse, which was the Beta RS, the 500 RS, which is like the street legal version. Everything's in hours, and it's saying to do an oil change every 3 hours. And then similarly, it's just like, you know, tear the engine down, do all this stuff in super, super short succession. Why do these high-end enduro bikes need such ridiculous maintenance? Where the 300L, on the other hand, 8,000 mile oil change services, 16,000 mile for the filter, 16,000 miles for a valve clearance. Now I get it. All the high-end enduro style bikes, these are all built out of an engine that was originally a race motor, built for racing. Tuned them back just enough to put them on the road. But why does that really wear an engine out faster? I've always told people it's probably to do with the oil. For instance, the 300L took 1.5 liters or 1.6 quarts of oil, and this 500 takes 1.1 quarts or 1.1 liters. Does that really seem to be enough to make it 26 times shorter service intervals for the oil change? That math doesn't add up. If this thing held the same amount of oil as the 300L, what would that push the service an extra 50 miles? The reduced oil capacity, sure, it could be part of that reason, but that can't be the only reason, right? I think the other thing that gets said a lot is, oh, these are just high-strung motors, so that they pulverize the oil more. Well, let's break that down into what does that really mean? Does this engine rev higher than something like my 300L did? Like, not really. This might be 1,000 RPMs higher at most. So is that whipping the oil up faster? Is it churning it harder? I doubt it. In fact, realistically, you're riding around on the street with this bike versus like the 300L, you're almost always in higher RPMs on that 300L because you kind of need to use the extra power. This thing, usually I'm in a lower gear just cruising. And that brings me to another point. Bikes like that 300 spend a lot of time not only in high RPM but really crank back deep into the throttle. You think of these under stress motors as like having an easy time, but sometimes you really are dogging them to get them down the road. Never on it on the Sherco. You're just cruising, you're barely an 8 throttle. But at the end of the day, when the 300L is sitting at higher RPMs and under deeper throttle all the time, which is the higher strung engine, which is the engine that's being beat on more, it kind of makes you think, right? But this thing does make a lot more power. I haven't dynoed this bike, but I'm pretty sure it's about twice the power of a stock 300L. What is double the horsepower though doing to something like the oil, for instance? It's heating it up more maybe? This thing also has double the radiators that the 300L has. And let's think for a minute, why do we change oil in the first place? Is it because this engine has beat the out of the oil so much that it's no good anymore? No, modern oils, especially that Motul, is not gonna wear out, especially in 300 miles. We're changing it because of contaminants, crap that gets in there, aluminums and steels, clutch plate material, carbon deposits. This crap gets into the oil and reduces its viscosity, lubricity, its ability to transfer heat, and that's the big reason we change it. And as we just seen, this thing has multiple screens and a huge filter. So in a lot of ways, this is better set up to manage the oil. But it's a more high-strung motor, it makes more horsepower. What does that mean? Think about this, something like a CBR 600 RR. Per cc makes about double the power that this does. Yes, it's got more pistons and blah, 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 but still, double the power. That is an engine that redlines at what, 16,000 RPMs? Think how much more violent everything is in there with those levels of RPMs, that heat buildup from that extra power, and it has 8,000 mile oil change services, just like the 300L. Well, what's the tolerances like in an engine like this? Maybe looser and more carbon gets by, maybe it's tighter to seal it better, but it's gonna wear it out faster. I compared it to the 300. I looked at valve lash and the tolerance, piston diameter, and tolerance it's allowed to be off of that, in-ring gaps, rod play. I went through their manuals and I wrote a bunch of stuff down I was going to read to you, but to avoid me just sitting here rattling off numbers for like the next 10 minutes, let me just say there was no discernible differences, like hundredths of a millimeter here and there differences. Okay, what about compression ratios? I thought Sherco has 11.6 to 1 compression, 300L has 10.7 to 1 compression, so that's not that much more, you know. Like the motocross 450s are closer to like 13 to 1. That is a very high compression motor. So what's going on? Truth is, I don't know. I don't know why. Don't get me wrong, I can draw some conclusions as to why certain engines may have shorter lifespans than others. Cold out here. I'm a mechanic, right?
I went to school.
What I'm not is engineer Jake. I may understand like some elements in engineering, you know, but I have to admit this is a place I do not have the education to understand why this engine could possibly need this level of maintenance. Let me know in the comments if you understand what's going on here. If it's just a theory yourself, say it's a theory, or if it's something you heard from someone else, just give me some reasoning as to why. Don't just say, well, it's because of this. Help me out here with it, okay? Maybe I'm an idiot. That's fine with me, I don't know. But all the reasons that I always come up with, and I talk to people about this on my Discord, and you know, they had kind of the same reasons I would always have. With, oh, you know, high strung and you know, high performance and this and that. But it's like when you actually start doing the think thought, it doesn't work. I think there's some good YouTube channels that could probably have a good take on it, could make a good explanation. The workshop, that Matt feller, I think he's an engineer. He's got really good explanations of things in videos. I don't think he likes me. I don't think he likes anyone though. I think he's kind of an angry guy, but he's fun in a grumpy way, and he knows his so like Matt from the workshop, maybe that'd be a fun topic. Someone tell him. They'll just make him angry. But anyway, now that's out of the way, and I've explained I'm an idiot, I don't know what I'm talking about. I do have some theories as to why. I want to see what you guys think about these. I have noticed in more performance-y sort of motocross enduro engines, the piston skirts are really short. This would help with some friction against the wall, free up some horsepower. It also would free up some weight. That piston has to change direction real fast to allow a faster revving engine. And the downside of that would be faster wear of the piston cylinder. You get more walking in the cylinder. So I think that's a possibility. Are engines like these less concerned with the vibrations they have, so they're not as balanced and counterbalanced as well as things like the 300L, and those vibrations over time wear things down a little quicker, right? That sounds like it could be a thing, right? I just think it's hard. I'll put it in the quick power mode. It's where it starts doing wheelies when you don't want it to. Which is kind of fun. What if it's like this? These engines that we're talking about all come from a race background. They are a race engine. These race engines have a really high maintenance schedule. Like every 3 hours, replace this. Every 3 hours, every 4 hours, do this. Or every race, do this. Well, okay, you go to the engineer. And we were going to put this thing like in a sort of street capacity, a street mode. And the engineer, I think that maybe they're a bit paranoid, and the engineers take the number from their maintenance schedule and just like multiply it by like 2 or 3. You go, well, that should be fine for street use or dual sport use, which is kind of insane, I think. If you think about enduro racing, motocross racing, the abuse, the romp in the harness, think about the engine just bouncing and bouncing up and down. How the hell would it have consistent oil pressure? I don't think it can. And if you think running around the street is anywhere close to that, even half, even a third, I think that's crazy talk. These guys are in this enduro sphere. You tell someone who's a dual sport bike to one of those dudes and let them go rip it down single track, they are ripping it at like enduro pace, you know? I think that's what they consider. I think that they're thinking that the bike's gonna be under way more abuse than it really is, and we're just cruising right here. I mean, how many times on this ride have I pinned the throttle? Even ripping up them wheelies, it's like a millisecond just to pop it. The load this thing is under when you're just cruising around is so minimal. I also want y'all to know this too, by the way, that I wasn't like shocked. I didn't like buy this bike and go, oh my god, they're expecting me to do what? I knew that. I've owned bikes like this before. My XR650R had a very high maintenance schedule, and so did my WR450. I mean, it's basically just like this. Yeah, when I got my WR, most everybody on the forums, the pages, they all said the same thing. Change the oil every like couple hundred miles, you know, every 200 miles, every 300 miles, change the oil. That was always what we were told. And at first, that's what I did. But over time, you start realizing you're just throwing away good oil. So you start stretching them out. You know, like around 900 hours on it when I got rid of it. And I started stretching those out to 1,500 miles towards the end there. And I would do the oil and the filter every time I did that. And I felt that that was just fine, though. I mean, the oil, even at that, really came out pretty clean, to be honest with you. So then every winter, I would just pull the valve cover off and check the valves. And out of that time, I think twice I had to shim a valve. Maybe I just got lucky. And it's just a single case study. Are these Shercos reliable, or are they finicky? Again, not a lot of case studies, but you see mixed information. A lot of stuff I've seen, people have been raving about how these are so great. Is that just buyer whatever, ISCs or whatever you call it? You know, we'll give these valves a check. We'll check things like, I've got a compression tester. You know, we'll keep an eye on it, and we'll look for signs of issues. At the end of the day, though, it's an uncomfortable thing, right? So typically, we like to say, hey, we're going to see whatever the maintenance schedule is, and we're going to follow it like hell. If anything, usually tighter than what, you know, you're being told. Not less. Here I am telling you, yeah, maybe do less. I'm not telling you nothing. Don't quote me. I haven't said to do a thing. I don't trust anything I've said. It sounds like malarkey. You should always follow the maintenance schedule. In fact, I'm going to do it twice as often because I really want to take care of this thing. I'm going to change the oil every time I shift from every time I make it from first to sixth gear. That should I should do an oil change when I get home. Would you guys, though, buy a bike with such a ridiculous maintenance schedule? Would you ever consider deviating from such a schedule? Do you know the reason why we have such a schedule? If you want to talk to me in my Discord, you need to join the Patreon. That's just $1 a month. That will also get you early ad-free accesses to these videos. Longer cuts. Sometimes they're a lot longer. I hope to learn something from this video. I'm hoping to learn. I'm not teaching you anything. Well, I might be teaching you something, but I'm hoping somebody teaches me. But it's I kind of feel like this is like when you ask the internet to do Photoshop for you. Like, I feel like I'm gonna get absurd answers. I feel like I'm gonna get like all wrong answers.